Good evening and welcome to Chatbox with Sam. Tonight's guest is actress, director and singer Suzanne Lanier. Welcome Suzanne, how are you?
Fine. How are you, Samantha?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm very honoured that you've decided to be on Chatbox with Sam. I always love to interview the ladies, and especially one with so many talents. I've just been on your YouTube channel and listened to you sing. What a beautiful voice you have too. And I did put that out on social media today. They can find you on YouTube at Suze Lanier Bramlett.
That's
And that
right.
was your husband's name.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, Susan, you have quite an extensive career that I see, and very talented in many areas. If you were to inspire the younger generation, what would be your main focus?
Uh, I think the first requirement, if I was going to advise a young person to pursue anything, is pursue something you're passionate about, but truly passionate, not just because your best friend is passionate about it, but that you are. Because whatever it is that you pursue, even if you want to be a doctor, say, or actor, singer, director, producer, you have to love that because I think making it in anybody's career is tough, no matter what you pursue. And it requires a lot of work, and particularly the entertainment business. The thing about entertainment is that it looks easier than it really is. And so I think when you watch TV and you think, oh, I could do that, I want to do that, nobody understands how really difficult it is.
Yeah, yeah, it is a hard industry, definitely. But never give up. If it's your passion, that is.
Right.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And what inspired you into this career?
Yeah, well, for acting, I used to watch the Miss America contest with my mother, who was just I worshipped my mother, and she's now passed. But we would, as a little girl, we grew up. She loved to watch Miss America and the Arthur Godfrey talent shows and all and there were shows on the air that I was fascinated with, and I would get up after Miss America in front of the TV and do comedy sketches on the contestants. And I would make my mother and my sister and my brother laugh. And I found power in that and I
Mm.
enjoyed it. So when I was about 13, I auditioned for a play in one of the city parks of Dallas, where I grew
Mm-hmm.
up, and got the lead in the play. And kind of the rest was history. I mean, I won an award that summer in Dallas, and I just kept going with it. I signed up to be a drama major in school. I studied acting after that. I'd already studied dance. I continued to study dance, acting. Um, and it just was never really a question to me about what I wanted to do. And I think that's a blessing because a lot of young people don't know what they want to do.
Right.
And when you know what you want to do, that's half the battle.
Yes, I agree. So you were raised in Dallas, Texas, and then
Yeah.
you moved to New York.
Yes.
Um, so I have to ask, what did it feel like working alongside John Travolta?
Well, John, he wasn't a huge star when I did Welcome Back, Cotter, and
Mm.
he, but he was known. I mean, he was sexy as hell, and and he was adorable, and so he was very sweet to me. I have not kept up with him over the years,
Mm.
but I did keep up with all the other sweat hogs. Many of them are gone already, but
Yeah.
Ron Palillo and Bobby Hedges already. And I spent Fourth of July with Larry Hedges not a couple of years ago, so I still see him sometimes. So John was adorable, and so
Oh,
yeah. I got a role when I first landed in LA. I think it was 1975,
yes.
and my agent sent me for an audition at the Amundsen Theater to play the Sue Lyon role in Night of the Iguana with Richard Chamberlain, Raymond Massey, Dorothy McGuire, and Eleanor Parker. And Tennessee Williams himself was involved in the production. And everybody said, "Oh, you'll never get that." And I did get it,
You
and
did.
and it was just a wonderful experience. And Richard Chamberlain also was quite a gent. I didn't know anybody in LA yet. It was Christmas when we were doing the show, and he invited me to spend Christmas with his family because he knew I didn't have anybody here, and he was just the sweetest guy. I mean, he still is, but I haven't seen him.
Oh, is that what made you leave New York?
I went there to pursue a theater career. I but my parents wanted me to be in college, so I enrolled at NYU, and I was a student there while I also studied acting at HB Studio with Uta Hagen and Bill Hickey, and having fun in the village. And I auditioned for a theater company in New York called the Nowhere East Theater Company, which was a little off Broadway space.
Yes.
And started doing plays and got a few indie films. One with Robert Downey Sr. And then from New York, I was cast in a bunch of dinner theaters. At the time, in the dinner theater was huge in the early 70s. And so I was touring everywhere. And I think in about 1973, I did Last of the Red Hot Lovers with Pat Paulson, who was famous from Laugh-In, the show Laugh-In. And his manager and agent saw me on the road. I'd never been to LA. And he was a huge agent. So he liked my work, and he told me if I would move to LA, he would rep me. I did move to LA, and he repped me, and I started working immediately.
I know you were in Hills Have Eyes. That's a big hit in England and America. You know, even my daughter's seen it. Yeah, so it was very scary, but very intense. So what does it feel like working on that set?
Well, Wes Craven was the director,
yes.
and he was great to work with, and a lot of improv. And I had done quite a bit of TV by the time I got cast in The Hills Have Eyes, and I was dying to do a movie. My agent didn't want me to do a horror movie. He said it would ruin my life and my career. It was just shoddy, you know. He wanted me to stay more theater oriented and legit stuff, and thought that horror movies were horrible. And he didn't like the script. But Wes was offering me the lead in a movie, and I really wanted to do movies. And I thought, well, this is great. I'll have a lead in a movie, and if it's a hit, great. And if it's not, which it probably won't be, then no skin off anybody's teeth. And so it turned out to be a much bigger hit than I ever imagined it would be. It
was. And I love horror movies.
Yeah, and they're fun. And I've done a number of horror movies since. None with that amount of success, I don't think. But I'm known in the genre, and that's fine with me.
Yes, you are. And also known as Sassy. which makes you strong. I like it. I like that word. I call it my granddaughter sometimes. You're sassy.
I've been called sassy a lot. Yeah,
means you're a strong character. I think there's no flaw in the word whatsoever. I love it. When you're in Madam X and Beneath the Black Veil.
Well, Madam X starred Tuesday Weld, and I played one of her best friends, and mostly I was drunk in it. My character was drunk, and I often get called to play the edgier roles that require, like being drunk or, whatever. So I can play a good drunk. no experience.
As you're sitting there sipping your water.
Yeah. You think this is water? Mm-mm.
It's not.
Great news. No, it's water. Madam X was a lot of fun.
Right.
And then Beneath the Black Veil was directed by a friend of mine, Jason Koch, and I play a bitchy Sue Mingers type of agent, and that's fun. That hasn't been released largely yet. I don't know what the plans are for that project.
Right.
But another horror show movie I did was called Cut, where I played myself.
Yes.
Susan Lanier, grown up as now a horror movie director, and it was me, and my leading lady was Dee Wallace's daughter, Gabrielle Stone. And it's kind of because I play Susan Lanier from The Hills Have Eyes, now film director, and my leading lady is Gabrielle Stone, Dee Wallace's daughter, biological daughter. And so I'm really good friends with Dee and Gabrielle, and they're lovely. They're just great people. So I've kept my relationships tight with all the cast of Hills Have Eyes, but particularly Dee and Michael Berryman, and all of them, actually.
That's lovely. That is lovely.
When I mentioned earlier in this discussion about how hard the business is, one of the aspects of the business that makes it hard is being able to handle serious rejection. And, you don't always score. Right. And, I did the pilot for Three's Company with Joyce DeWitt and John Ritter, and I was not picked up for the for the series. Yeah. And there were many reasons why that happened, and I don't need to go into those, but the main thing is that I didn't get the series, that I didn't end up doing the series. Well, that's breaks. A lot of people have a lot worse things happen to them than get rejected from a TV series. Right. And many of the wonderful things that have happened in my life, because I wasn't stuck on that series, happened to make me who I am now. Right. And so you just have to, I've always believed that it's easier to flow with the stream, go with the flow, than to try to fight the stream or make something happen if it's not meant to be.
Absolutely.
And so that obviously wasn't meant to be. Mm-hmm. And had I done that series, I would never have met Delaney, and I would never probably have started writing music, because I did that basically with Delaney. And so, it's like, because I didn't do that, I did many other things I might not have ever had a chance to do. So there you go. You just never know.
Well, I've heard it a lot from people in the industry. They don't always get a yes, and sometimes it's not, that part isn't right for you, or you not right, that part isn't right for you, because the universe has something different installed for you, something better. So at the time we're told no on something, and we think, oh, even me, I've gone for jobs and I've been told no on jobs, and then I've got another job, which I thought would be, I probably didn't want as much, but I got the job and it ended up being a lot better. You know what I mean? So it happens all the time through life. I mean, if we don't get told no, we're not humbled, and then sometimes when we get told no, we appreciate more, and we get more from when the universe says yes. That's the way I look at it. So.
Absolutely. You audition as an actor. See, with music, you have a lot more control over when you work, how you work, as long as you've got some talent going, you can book gigs, you have more control. As an actor, that's the hardest thing to be, because you are dependent on first, the casting director has to like you. Yeah. And then the next step up has to like you. And then the network has to like you. And the director has to like you. And all these people have to come to an agreement that you're the character, that you're going to play the character. And so I found that to be overwhelming different times of my life. You get tired of auditioning and maybe not getting something, and then you'll audition, and then voila, you'll get this big opportunity. Yeah. But if I don't get something, then I just go write a song and read it. And I'm writing too. So I find these days it's really important that an actor can write too. you can write your own ticket in a way and create your own webisode and your own series and your own social media and visibility. We couldn't do that back then. And
Right.
and I think it's maybe easier to break in now than it was when I was doing it.
Yes, I think so. I think the industry, um, well, yeah, because they've got the self tapes now. But I've got a friend that's auditioned many, many times on self tapes, and she's in the last 2 years she's only got 5 parts, and she must have done about 108 self tapes because they have, instead of you going into the office now, they're doing the self tapes. And I've even helped a friend with some doing the self tape auditions, because and they'll submit and submit and submit. But where you're not going in the office anymore, they have more choice of, so they don't even see half the self tapes, I'm sure.
I would imagine
Just
they wouldn't to watch every one of them. I'm sure they're screened through some other process. But
right.
now that you mention it, I had to give up a party this last weekend and self tape for a very big project with Natalie Portman. And
Awesome.
and it was 11 pages. I had to do a Polish accent. I had to speak a little bit of Polish, and it was 7 different scenes. And I had to work on that all weekend.
Oh my gosh.
And here's the thing, it's like I'm doing this and spending, it took 2 days to figure it all out.
Right.
You got to learn the lines, so tape it, make sure the lighting is right, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is, there are hundreds of other people doing the same thing on the same role.
Right.
And it's such a long shot,
Oh,
And I'm thinking, wouldn't it be nice to be like traveling in Italy right now?
I agree.
I need to kick back on this self-tape business, and quit taking it so seriously because, if you're either going to get it or not.
I know, but I think everybody feels the same, Susan, because it's, I mean, I've seen like a 4-page size. I was helping someone with the size, but 11 pages.
11.
And a Polish accent and then speaking Polish. That's a lot of work. People don't realise how much work goes into this. And then you have to, all the lighting, you have to edit it. And my friend had the script up here and wrote it out in big so they could see it. So they didn't have to remember. He said, I can't possibly remember all those words from every single script that they get. So he just wrote it all out in big and had it right there on top of the screen.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I mean, I just find my own work, if I don't have it memorized, and I also think as I get older, which happens to everyone,
yes,
it's good for the brain to memorize,
Right.
and I'm really good at memorization. And so I like to keep those muscles working,
Yes.
and my work is much more organic if I do have it memorized. Occasionally I will cheat a little bit or have the words up where I can glance at them if I want. And because it was 11 pages and they only gave it to me 2 days prior to when it was due, my manager said, well, go ahead and use a paper if you want to. And I go, in the old days we did, when we went in the room to meet, we would hold the paper and you hold it a certain way and be able to bounce off, but you always had the script there,
Right.
in case you forgot the line. And so it's no different than having a cheat sheet when you're taping. You should be allowed, and they should be able to get an idea about whether or not you're the character or not.
Well, I hope you get the part. When do you find out?
You never know. I mean, it's going to shoot in March, so I don't know. I once I do.
hope you do. I'm putting it out there in the universe.
Thank you. I do too. But I started on a new song, and I'm writing on a book, and sometimes I feel like acting these days is a little intrusive on just my inner peace, which is important. And being on a set is hard work, and
Yes.
so I can go either way with it. I once I've done the self tape, I let it go and I don't give it a thought.
Tell me about this book.
It takes place in 1967. Um, I'm a young girl in New York City, and in I and it's down in the Village, the Lower East Side, in 1967. Or my journey of leaving Dallas and moving to New York as a young girl, and the scary and fabulous things that happened to me there.
Oh, so it's like a memoir.
It's a memoir. It is,
Yes.
and it's parts of it are extremely dark, and then parts of it are funny.
Hmm.
And I try to everything I do when I write music or anything, I try to incorporate a sense of humor. I consider myself more of a comedian than a dramatic actress, anyway.
Yes.
So I love comedy. I did a lot of sitcoms, and then I did some stand up. I was cast, um, I think in '76 with George Carlin um, in,
Oh, awesome.
in Tony Orlando on the Tony Orlando and Don Comedy Hour, and I was sort of the Goldie Hawn, dumb blonde character in all the sketches. So I they teamed me up with George Carlin quite a bit, and I got to do some amazing sketches with Freddie Prinze, senior, not junior, Alice Cooper. I can't even Steve Lawrence and Edie Gourmet, and I just a bunch of people. I have a cabaret show that I do, and it's comedy, a one woman show, cabaret show, where I write all the music, most of it, and do comedy between the songs, where I integrate a story. So it's a play, a
Oh,
one woman funny play. But it's not all funny, but mostly it is.
where can we find this?
Well, I tour it,
Oh, you
before
stand
COVID.
up.
Before
Yeah,
COVID, I
before,
played
yeah.
clubs in LA, and I played with Ladies of the Blues in Orlando, Florida, and toured. I toured my show, and I'm getting ready to go back into rehearsal to put it up in New York. So
Nice.
just got back from there, and I really got the bug to live there, and I vacillate, would I rather live in LA or New York? Well, I really prefer to live in both. So
Yeah.
and I don't miss not being in the snowstorm right now. So when I
Right.
was there, the weather was beautiful. So there are times of year I don't like New York so much in the summer either. So, I love the spring and the fall. So that's the goal, is to spend more time in New York in the spring and fall. But I am a California girl now.
Yeah, I'm in California too. I'm in North, but you can't beat the weather here, really. You played in a movie, Betrothed, in 2016. That intrigued me because that's a very old name, for a unity of marriage. Um, can
Um,
you,
that was with Bill Oberst Jr., who is a very big horror male horror star, and I play his wife, and we run a store, and that's really cool because I get stabbed in the scene, and I love that dramatic stuff. Bill Oberst is a wonderful actor, and I love working with him, and I love playing his wife.
well, I'm glad I brought it up because now people will go and look for it. Is there any role that you've played where you could see your own personality within that role?
Well, every time I play a role, there's a certain aspect of my personality, and of me in that character, because that's the only way I can approach the character, is me as the character. But I did a pilot for Viacom, where for CBS, with Greg Malavy and Meredith McRae, and it was my show, and I starred in it. And I brought a lot to the table in terms of um, ideas, and the writing team and executive producers embraced my ideas, and I feel like I was most myself in that pilot, and it was called Wilder and Wilder, and I loved working with Greg Malavy too. He's a wonderful actor.
Would you like to share how music has influenced your life? especially with you and your husband?
I was involved and passionate about music before I met my future husband, Delaney Bramlett. Even as a young girl, I had auditioned and landed a role in Hair on Broadway. And I remember singing in the high school musicals and summer theater that I worked in as a child. So I was always loving music. I was a teenage disc jockey at a radio station, hired to do dedications to the audience, high school kids. And I just loved all the music. So it's been an always a mix in my life of how do I mix the acting with the music. And then when I met Delaney, who I had, I met him because he had seen The Hills Have Eyes, and met him the night after he saw it at a drive-in. And so we hooked up after that. But he was such a genius. I mean, he taught Eric Clapton how to sing, and everybody was in his band with his wife at the time, before me, Delaney and Bonnie and Friends. And so they were a great band, and they had Jimi Hendrix, and Delaney played with Duane Allman and the Allman Brothers, and George Harrison, all those people way before I met him. And then after they broke up and I met him in 77, he was still writing all the time and composing and in the studio all the time. So I just loved watching him work, and occasionally I'd throw out a lyric and then he'd ask me to write more lyrics, and we started teaming up, and it was great. And then had my own band in the 80s in LA, and it had more of a country flavor than what I do now, but music has just always been there. And I've written a lot of songs by myself or with other songwriters. I've written with the Everly Brothers and other people. And it's just been, it's the most fun thing there. For me, it's the most fun art form, is doing music.
What an amazing names that you brought up. Eric Clapton, Jimi Hendrix, and your husband. Gosh, I think
I didn't work with Jimi Hendrix. I want to make you worked
me
with
neither.
I didn't work. No, I didn't work. I wish, but no.
Sorry. Well, out of all the charities in the world, which one would you choose to advocate for, and why?
Well, I think feeding the homeless is crucial, and because people need to eat food, and I have so many causes. I have done gigs to raise money for a women's shelter in LA, women that have been abused and they have children and they need refuge. So I'm very much a feminist, and I'm for women's rights, and to teach young girls to be independent and self-respecting. So but I think poverty and homelessness and feeding the homeless, if we don't solve that, the homeless issue in LA is growing by the day.
Yeah, I've seen it.
It's horrendous. In 1983, my mother was telling me about all the homelessness in Texas in 1983. And she said, there's soup kitchens opening up everywhere. So for some reason, I went the next day and wrote a song called Soup Kitchen. It's one of my favorite songs that I've recorded and written. And but this is worse than them. And a lot of it has to do with COVID, I suppose, but it was happening before that. Yeah. And so I feel like the country is rich enough that it shouldn't be as awful an issue. So I guess if I was to pick one, it would be that. Yeah. But I would never just pick one, because, I try to to kick in with as many charities as I can,
Right.
and I'm very concerned about racism,
Right.
and that uh, I'm very much supportive of Black Lives Matter,
Yes.
and uh, my family is partially mixed, and I feel that um, pain personally, though
Yeah.
it's just there should be peace. I mean,
There's no.
my favorite song is Imagine, by John Lennon. It's like
Yes. But there's
imagine
no.
all
There's nothing worse than teaching a child hate,
right.
because a child will automatically love. If they hate someone for the colour of their skin, that's come from deep rooted, awful people.
It's
you know,
inexcusable.
it is
It's
inexcusable because we all bleed the same colour blood. We're all born naked. We all die naked, and then what we make in between in this life is what we make of it. We're here too short on this earth to
that's right.
hate. We need
That's
to
right.
love each other, and I'm trying to find with these interviews how we're similar yet uniquely different, and how to promote kindness. And this is the main reason why I'm doing the shows. Everyone is kind of the same on board when it comes to helping the youth and giving them information and supporting each other. Everyone is for supporting humanity. Life's too short to be cruel to each other, and no one should be hungry, no one should be homeless. And if everybody gave a little bit, we wouldn't have such a divide. There's one example of when I grew up, we had a lot of Indian people coming over from Pakistan, and when one person got married, they all chipped in. They all chipped in financially and helped that couple. The whole family would chip in, and they were thriving. They still are, because, and I said that, some of us we don't do that and help our families. We just help ourselves. I mean, some people can't afford to chip in, and but if you can chip in a little bit, if everybody did, then we'd all thrive, I think.
Well, I love the Asian tradition of
Yeah,
the elders living in the home with the kids,
they
and
did.
that and here it's like, oh my gosh, the entitlement of some of the people that I run across and happen to even some know, it's like, I'll just put them at home, get rid of them or whatever. And
I know.
I find that sad in a way,
It is. I could never do that to my mother. She's in England, but I'd
I
bring her
would
here.
never have let my mother go to a place. I would have taken care of her.
Yeah, me too. I think, just take care of each other outside the family too, because we're all here for a short space of time. We need to
Very short.
we need to make it count.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts about what has transpired since COVID-19?
Uh, I was uh, I was supposed to go to Moscow and do a horror film festival. Um, about a month, about a couple of weeks. I was ticketed to go there a couple of weeks after it started, and I, of course, canceled my trip. I didn't want to be stuck in Moscow with
Mm,
COVID,
no.
going on. And so I was a little bit resentful that I had to put the screeching brakes on my social life and had to learn how to be alone in a uh, peaceful way. And I think I have started to be more comfortable being alone. I've had to learn how to do that, um, which was always hard for me. I was always surrounded with people. And so that's been a great learning lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, you know, I hope that it's coming to a halt. I'm hoping that we're getting a grip on it. I wish more people would get vaccinated so that I could feel freer. I don't want to give anybody um, a disease that's going to kill them. And I did lose a number of friends and associates to COVID. For anybody to say that it's not a real thing is nuts at this point. And so I just, I feel like I feel like I grew as internally as a person.
Right.
I did not get accomplished all the things I thought I might. I thought, okay, this is a great time to finish my book, and I didn't. And I don't know if that was depression. I do know I was, at first stuck on the news and stuck on what was going on, and trying to figure things out, and getting used to the mask was a huge distraction.
Mm-hmm.
And once I got used to it, I got a little bit more done. But um, I'm ready to go back to what feels more normal. I don't,
Normal. Yeah.
and I have to emphasize more normal because I don't know if we'll ever be able to go back. I haven't stayed home as much as some of my friends, and for some reason I've been lucky that if I did have COVID, I didn't know it, so
Right.
you know, on any test I've taken, I've been negative. So I knock on wood that I don't get it, but I'm not as afraid of it as I was at first before they had the vaccine.
Right. Yeah.
And I look forward to them releasing prescriptions that if you do get it, you just take a pill and maybe it'll, also
Subside.
not. Mhm. So I guess it's good that the science has evolved because of it. Um, so I'm hoping not to get it, but my some of my girlfriends have lost some of their hair, and they do have the Kobe brain. And one woman who's a little more mature said, "Oh my God, it has really messed with my memory, my short-term memory."
Yeah, that's mine. That's why I keep looking at this page. I'm like,
I'm thinking, man, I don't need to get that now.
anyway, thank you for sharing that about your COVID experience, because it affected everybody in the world, and we've all got our own feelings and to share. Is there anything that no one has asked you in an interview that you would have liked them to ask you?
I can't think of anything that maybe about my little dog Stella. No.
Oh, have you got a pooch?
No, I can't think of anything that. I mean, I have been asked a lot of questions, so
Yes.
by different interviewers, and so I don't know of any stone unturned.
So, what are your main hobbies? What do you like to do?
I'm a
We know you
workaholic.
like.
I'm a workaholic, and if I'm not creating something, I'm or maybe working out. I love dancing. I was a um, avid dance class girl when I was
Mm,
young, so I still love to work out. And if I'm not working out or something, I love to write music. I love writing on my book, and so and I love coming up with ideas and seeing them come to fruition. So hobby, I in the 80s, my acting career had slowed down a little bit, and I started messing around with photography. And
nice.
I became, I knew so many actors that I started doing headshots, and then started making a really good living at doing headshots, and then started shooting fashion and different things. So, album covers in Nashville. It was a passion. Even as a child, my dad had bought me a brownie camera, and I would shoot rolls of film all the time, and he would take them to the store and get them developed. So much that he started learning how to develop them in our garage because he got tired of paying for
Oh,
my film.
really?
And I was only 7 or 8 when I started doing that, and I've always had this passion for it. And so I ended up making a really good living for many years as a photographer. and it taught me lighting. It taught me camera angles and things like that. So that now that we're in a real virtual world in a way, I kind of knew all the technical stuff. I didn't have to learn it at the last minute. You know, I'm really,
Right.
I'm better than your average bear in terms of the technical aspects of camera and things like that. I don't shoot like I used to because it was a lot of up and down ladders and changing backdrops, and I have more focus on acting now as the grandmother or the older character actress, which I had always looked forward to doing. Even when I was a young girl, I thought, well, when I'm old, I can always play the old parts. And so, you know, now that we're here, it's kind of nice to be able to relax and not be so obsessed with body perfection and body image and things like that. You know, the wrinkles are there, and you know, what can you do? You know what I mean?
I wouldn't say they're wrinkles. I think they're wisdom lines.
Yeah.
They're
I got some good 11s going up here.
Oh, I've got the whole alphabet.
Yeah, I think life. You don't. I think life as a more mature person, there's less to lose because I've had I'm so grateful for the most exciting journey I could have ever etched out for myself. If I wouldn't trade eras with anyone. I love the era, the generation I was born in. I feel like we had it all. We had penicillin and, you know, free love. Rock and roll. And so,
yes,
you know, it was like it was a great.
I just got what you said.
I just wouldn't trade places with anybody that I know. I certainly wouldn't trade with young people today. And so if I had to pick and I'm so grateful for that, you know, I'm grateful for my journey. So the rest is sort of gravy, you know.
Yeah, gravy. I've heard that. Who else said that? I think that was Larry Hankin. He said the rest is gravy. It's funny because you've just said the same thing.
The rest is gravy, man. It's like,
I love it. I love that. I'm going to start. Can I coin it? I want to use that. The rest is gravy.
Sure.
Is there any things that you'd like to say to the viewers that are watching you today on this show?
I have a new EP coming out called Allergic to Texas. And because every time I go back to visit my mother, I get some kind of allergy, hay fever. And so the last time that I was there and she took me to the doctor, I was very sick. And the doctor said, well, I think you just might be allergic to Texas. And I went, oh, might be the new song. So the EP is called Allergic to Texas. I have, I think, 6 cuts on it, and I'm getting ready to release that. It will be available on iTunes, CD Baby, usually releases everything, and Amazon. And then watch out for the book I'm writing. So, and I can't say the title, so I'll just let everybody know when it's out. My channel is Suze Lanier Bramlett. I write music that way. And then on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, I'm either Suze Lanier Bramlett or Susan Lanier. Most everything's under Susan Lanier for the acting. And you know, that's where you find me. I'm doing cameos too. So if anybody wants a cameo, just look me up as Susan Lanier on Cameo, and there you go.
You get that cameo, she'll sing happy birthday to you.
I will.
Yes,
in a very bluesy way.
And a few other things. Yes, Susan is a wonderful lady, and she's had an awesome career and life, and watch out for her book that comes out, because a memoir is something, you know, to behold. So it's someone's life, and we all have one, and this lady is going to put hers into words, and that takes a lot of work and soul. So please watch out for her book and listen to her songs. She has an amazing voice. So Susan, thank you very much for coming on Chat Box with Sam. It's been lovely. It's been an honour to listen to you talking. So,
I had a great time.
So thank you, Susan. Bye.
Thank you, honey. Bye-bye.
Bye.